consider. God dang it. So close.
Wop, wop, wop.
This episode of Getting Tabled is brought to you by Valhalla Hobby. Use code TABLE to get 5% off any order over $100, one use only. Thank you to our tablers for choosing to support us. Please consider joining for only $2 a month. You can listen to us record live and get early access to all video content on the YouTube channel.
Brought to you by some guys on the internet.
This is Getting Tabled.
With your hosts, Jason the Bruce,
You guy!
George the Yang,
I hope you are all entertained by my inaptitude.
Jason aka Major Socks.
We've been doing this and talking about various stuff. One of the stuff.
Now sit back, relax, and get tabled.
Hello, future people, and welcome to episode 188 of Getting Tabled with your host. We can see him, the Bruce.
Hello, folks. Yes, we're back. And yes, you can see me. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. We also have with us the main man. Although he never speaks, people are only here to see him. Nobody cares about me and George. It's To Be Determined Socks.
To be determined. That's right. I have no idea what the community is coming up with for my next nickname. I have no.
George hasn't
I'm
listed
kinda-
the poll yet.
That's what I thought.
I don't think that's actually that bad of an idea either. The To Be Determined Socks.
I think I don't know who it was that changed it in the group chat. I think it was Michelle. It was either you or Michelle.
With to
At
mismatch
this-
or whatever?
Mismatch.
No, it's been changed from mismatch to
all I
something
see
else.
is just me, so I don't see what you guys see in the chat. So
Yeah, there's a nickname in the larger group chat with Michelle. Anyway, that doesn't matter right now.
no.
If you have
Yeah, we have
ideas
George.
for Sox's new nickname, technically he hasn't been promoted yet.
No, March.
We're still protesting to try to get him demoted instead, but nobody's listening.
Yeah, it was so much better when it was captain.
Isn't that right, Recruit Sox?
Oh, thanks.
Actually,
Cadet.
if you
Cadet.
if you take a posting at F.E. Warren, you could get knocked down to captain pretty easily, probably.
Yeah, with everything that's going on up there, yeah, and which is where George lives, nowhere in Wyoming.
Yep. Oh yeah, we have a George.
A wild George has appeared. I've been
it's
here
not
the
very
whole
effective.
time.
Shall we discuss some topics?
Newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events.
And we are starting with a game from Melbourne, which is a high-octane mutant apocalypse tabletop role-playing game. So this is more of a dungeon. This is more of a D&D type thing as opposed to a miniatures game. But the designs on this looked so cool. I couldn't not talk. I put this in our run sheet a week ago. So this is all mutated Aussie creatures in the outback somewhere. Like we start with the Beauty, which is a giant croc man type thing. Crawley, the doggo, which looks like a blue healer by the look of it. Dunno was clearly supposed to be an echidna, but it's just nuts. Hopper is clearly meant to be a cane toad.
Frog.
And if you know anything about cane toads in Australia, let me take that back. If you don't know anything about cane toads in Australia, look up the video by More Pars. It's worth watching and it's rather hilarious.
Aren't they the invasive species that the British introduced years ago when they were colonizing? Okay.
Yep. Marzu is Mad Max. Mel Gibson. It's a kangaroo with a mullet. Also, I don't know why. I can't stand mullets. But there's something about that one that really works.
Because it's Mad Max.
Yeah. And then the swooper, which is a
Cassowary.
cassowary. Thank you. It's the world's only living dinosaur. That's not actually true, but it's what we think of them anyway.
And socks, they're actually scarier than the emu. Like they are actually vicious and violent.
There was a case a couple of years ago where one of them ran up behind a tourist and kicked them down a cliff. It was into the ocean. The tourist was fine, but yeah, literally happened randomly. I love the fact that it's called a swooper, despite the fact that these things can't fly. That probably wasn't thought through very well. Unless it's meant to be a tongue-in-cheek joke about the fact that they don't fly.
Most likely.
Yeah. So I really like the designs for this. Like, because it's a preview page, there's only so much that you can see here. I mean, there is a video up the top, but from what I can tell, this feels like obviously Mad Max-ish, but with animals or anthropomorphic characters. But it's, I want to say it's Road Rash-ish by the look of it. That is the vibe I get. Is Road Rash or Entropy City?
The it kind of has a feel of the Hot Rod Rats or whatever cartoon, or am I thinking that? Remembering that correctly?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you play the video, it kind of like shows scenes of the outback, and then it's like road rage.
Ratfink.
Oh, I know what Ratfink is. That's on stickers of the hot rod all the time. Yeah.
Yes.
I've never quite. I know what it is, but I don't know what it is. If that makes sense.
Sure.
I always kind of thought it was a brand.
Yeah, kind of. I do enjoy the way the doggo is designed, because it is common knowledge in the dog world that like healers are essentially just a Belgian Malinois, but they live in a single wide, drink bottom shelf whiskey, and smoke Marlboro Reds.
Oh, that is the best description I've ever heard.
And it's accurate.
I really like what Phil Beckwith has done with this. It's really, really pretty. He's not a name I've come across. This came across on my Facebook feed. He's not a name I've come across before. He has had campaigns in the past that have been delivered. They've worked on like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. And so it's somebody that actually has some depth. Somebody that actually has a history in the industry. So this feels pretty decently strong. I guess time will tell. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm looking at their backed stuff, not their created stuff. Ignore what I just said. They do have 5 to back, but the Turtles thing is wrong. So Planar Codex, Wranglers of the... So they've been doing a lot. Yeah. They've done previous stuff with Off the Beaten Path at a glance kind of looks Cthulhu-esque, but they've done a lot of stuff that was that was D&D 5e-ish. This one... I was
going to say, that Planar
say...
Codex was fairly successful, so...
Oh, yeah. I don't actually know what rules are being done for this yet. I assume that it'll be 5e-esque, but it doesn't actually say. This might potentially be their first completely unique property, potentially, but it doesn't say yet. It's a preview page, so I guess we'll find out when the full thing launches. Up next,
I just scrolled down a little further on that, Bruce.
Yeah.
There's a kookaburra, a koala, I'm guessing a wombat, and a platypus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the wombat is awesome. I like the idea of the policeman being the koala, given that koalas spend most of their time asleep.
And they have smooth brains.
Koalas do have smooth brains. He's not lying. They literally have smooth brains. The thoughts roll slide straight off them.
I also dig the platypus as being like kind of like a punk.
Rock star.
Oh no! If you look at that, that's totally punk.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah.
Up next, I'm going to make exactly the same joke that I did in our group chat and Discord. Up next is the reason George is no longer allowed to complain about Drop Fleet because he finally has his hero. Now I present George so that he can complain.
I have no complaints now.
You did have one complaint. You had a concern about this.
It wasn't a concern, more of a So, Drop Fleet Commander. Shaltari have the scan range, so they can go pew 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 from across the board, and you can't do crap. PHR have lots of guns on the side that can make lots of holes if you can get them lined up.
Mm-hmm.
UCM are jack of all trades. The Resistance has flexibility. I haven't looked at the Biovisors yet. But the Scourge are known for their stealth capabilities and their sneaking. And with the exception of like one UCM frigate, I think something with the PHR had stealth, if I remember correctly. Nothing from the Shaltari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the PHR had one stealth. Shaltari had 0 stealth. The only thing the Shaltari could do is just like turn on shields and just be like, check out my signature now. Oh, but I just roll on 2 up, whatever. Or 3 up. And then Scourge. Scourge was just rife with stealth.
Because it was their thing.
Yeah. And now, potentially, the Shaltari, this description says, most Shaltari shun stealth as dishonorable, but Nefertim embrace it. So is this a Shaltari stealth ship? Like, is it going to have stealth capabilities? Like, part of me also just wants to get this because it is a hero ship, right? So like the PHR one, like I can see like getting away with like painting it like the rest of the PHR because of the armor holes, right? UCM, Resistance, all like they all have the hero ships. They've all been done slightly different, from like the norm of the studio paint, just like these. The Shaltari usually portrayed as orange. So like having these not match your army's color theme is within the norm, because a lot, Resistance is all over the place, whatever. I want this so I can use the black 3.0 I've got. So it's just like the darkest, maddest black paint I could put on a mini.
That would be cool.
And then do like the little pod and some of the dots with like a nice brilliant red and then like a very soft blue on some of the other ones, kind of like this mini, but just that flat, light absorbing black just to like make it look like it's just blending in with the blackness of space.
Yeah. I really love the design of this. Like it feels very like visually, it does definitely feel very Shaltari. But it's so very different. I love the design of the microwave array on the front, the microwave crescent. I don't remember which chat it was in. It might have been the Discord for Melbourne Drop Fleet. I don't remember. Somebody made a comment about, what? You mean the UCM don't like being cooked from the inside? How unusual. I just thought that was very amusing.
I mean, that was a great strategy, taking, an entire squadron of frigates and microwaving everything to death.
Yeah. Yeah. But you made your initial comment, like, because they already have the largest shooting in the game. If stealth became a norm for Shaltari, which, I mean,
it shouldn't.
It definitely shouldn't.
Should not.
I realize that there are some people out there that are making arguments that Shaltari have actually gone too far the other way in the balances, and I am preparing for new games. I still haven't actually played yet. Because unfortunately, like we discussed last episode, I lost a huge chunk of my fleet last fortnight, which I am replacing hopefully next week. But so I don't have the experience to know if they are overly weakened or if they're balanced or In my experience, the players will always complain about the weakness of the fleet that they play, so it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm. But I think it'd be. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. If it became the norm, and not just in lore, because in lore here it says that it may continue to spread throughout the fleet, but if it became the norm that they started having access to a lot of stealth technology, that would break Sheltari.
I mean, the fact that, right off the bat, just off of core mechanics, they have the best gun in the game with the disintegrator banks. Like,
best signature range.
Yeah, the best range, period. Like, like every faction has like maybe one ship that can shoot that far, whereas that's the standard for Sheltari. So to throw stealth on it, I mean, now looking at this, I've pulled. There we go. You're back. So, looking at this doesn't look like it's going to have, the same kind of range capabilities as some of the other Sheltari ships, because that is a unique to it weapon design there on the front. It doesn't really look like anything else in the fleets for the Sheltari. So, what I was going to say, though, is it would also probably be fairly distracting too if you play on like a normal, typical like space themed board, and then you have that painted like a very matte, non-reflective black just sitting there. Like, your opponent could probably lose sight of it a few times if they weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I just want to say, Nefertum, like the actual hero in this ship, is insanely cute. Like the actual, like visually, they look very cutesy in their design. It's probably a combination of like the Sheltari have the larger head and the giant eyes.
Well, they
almost look chibi.
They're adorable little space hedgehogs.
Yeah,
look at hedgehogs. They're cute little things. They're
spiky in battle with you.
I just never really noticed how cute they look. This is not a complaint. It's just a note, something I'm noticing.
It's to lure you into a false sense of security.
Maybe that's why they continue to trick the ECM so easily.
But yes, so, and since it is con season, I do have one of those and a Punjari Thresher in my cart right now.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know why I want a Punjari Thresher, but I kind of do.
I just put an expression of interest in with my local store about getting the battle cruiser. I would have also, I was going to order, because I still need some cruisers, like regular cruisers, but there's only one sprue in stock on the TTCombat website, so I can't just order the sprues. I'll have to wait for them to. I'm hoping that they will continue to stock the old sprues, and that isn't just them clearing them out and they're gone. Because I just bought a whole heap of frigates just for having frigates, which means that if I end up buying core boxes, I'm going to end up having frigates I can't use. Which would be frustrating.
Yeah.
And from TTCombat, there's nothing else new that's really of note. So we'll move on from TTCombat. Oh, wait. No, that's right.
We have 3rd edition of Dropzone.
Yeah, it happened. I will say, like, I kind of expected that they would have dropped this for GenCon. It would make sense. I'm surprised they didn't announce it was coming to GenCon sooner. I'm wondering if maybe they were concerned about it not arriving in time or something. Because it feels like a mistake that they didn't mention this, like a month or two in advance. That's what Infinity would normally do.
So here's my reason and thought to this, right? So with the announcement of 3.0, we do have a new 2-player starter set that has UCM and Biofisters in it. So I think this is more of the I think Louis and the crew are trying to go for the new shiny syndrome at GenCon to get everyone to just buy up the lot at GenCon, and then they don't have to ship any back.
Yeah, I mean that would make a whole heap of sense. Like, they announced that Dropfleet 3.0 was coming 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just surprised that, because the fact that it was going to be at GenCon was like, what, a week and a half ago?
Something like that. Yeah.
A week ago?
They may have mentioned it earlier than that and I missed it. I'm just like, I'm not having a go at them not having done it. Like, a surprise is awesome. Just surprised that they didn't announce that, and the new starter set, even if they didn't want to say what was in the starter set, which I could understand, the new starter set will be available at GenCon. They could have dropped that, and I find it weird that they didn't. There's obviously a reason why they didn't. Like, maybe they felt like the surprise of, this is happening, or maybe it was a limited number, so if they announce it too early, there might be too many complaints because people missed out or something. I don't know. I also could be overthinking it. Anyway, this is a gorgeous looking box. We've had a number of conversations about this over the last week now. It's 1,000 points aside, which is...
What? It's balanced? No way.
Michelle's comment was that this should be the new industry standard, and I can't disagree with him. It's 1,000 points aside. Like, it's a decent... Like, you could play a decent game with this. It's not...
Mm-hmm.
I can play a game, but it's not really a real game. I mean, yes, you have 2,000 point games as a full game, but you can have a 1,000 point game and it's going to feel like Drop Fleet. They've designed the forces in a way where you kind of get a taste of everything that the I keep on saying
have.
fleets, that the armies have.
Yep.
It's a really nicely designed box. I can't disagree with him. I really do think that, yes, this probably should be something that people are being expected to deliver.
So, Socks, you probably definitely remember this since you're the huge fan of it. Remember when Warhammer Fantasy was scrapped and Warhammer Sigmar, Age of Sigmar was released?
Yep. Sure. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So...
It's a famous thing that everybody was really happy about. Nobody complained at all.
Yeah. So part of that release was, of course, there was a 2-player starter set. You had Khorne Demons, which, pulled over from Fantasy. Square bases were replaced with round bases. No big deal, right? But then you had Stormcast Turtles, the Sigmarines, the new stuff that's like, that was their flagship, let's push Age of Sigmar stuff. And 2-player starter set. And this is also before point values were really like, when they realized, oh no, we do need to have point values still. Like, we can't just, say, just bring what you want and it'll be fine. That didn't work. But it was very quickly pointed out, like, there was people playing this 2-player starter set. The Stormcast Turtles kept winning, and everyone's just like, wow, these are just really good, blah, 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 blah. Because what do you think when you get a 2-player starter set? You can sit down and play a game with 2 people. No, it turns out that the Sigmarines had like 750 points more of models than the Chaos did. And so it was nigh impossible for the Chaos to win.
Yeah. Which I don't think was a deliberate choice on Games Workshop's part. They just didn't think about it very clearly.
Well, it wasn't deliberate because when that box was released, the mindset was there's no point values. Here's a squad. Right. Here's what. So it's an equal number of squads is what it was, but the Sigmarines were just that much more modeled than the Chaos. Like, so it was not balanced out, and that's when Games Workshop was just like, oh, just kidding. We bring points back for Louis TTCombat. To go through and be like, this faction's 1,000 points, this faction's 1,000 points. Play the game. Yep. Right out of the, if you and your buddy are getting to this game for the first time and you pick this up, you're going to be able to play a mostly fair, balanced game from the get-go.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to look at on this before we look at the actual sets themselves, because there is more than one set here to discuss. The actual rules for Dropzone Commander are actually free on the website on the resources page. So you don't have to buy the rule book. You can just, if you're curious about Dropzone, Dropzone is praised very highly and has been praised very highly since its earliest days. I'd be surprised if people are hearing about Dropzone for the first time. But if you are and you're curious, you can read the rules before you buy anything. And I'd highly recommend that you do.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Bruce, because when I was doom scrolling one day, I came across a post in a Drop Fleet page. It was just like, "Hey, I just found out about this Dropzone game. Like, is this still a thing? Because I'm into Drop Fleet, and I just found out about this. Like,
I saw that post.
Yeah, and everyone's just like, they're just released rule version 3.0. Like, it's still a thing. It actually is, but this guy had never heard of it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been around since 2012, 2011. But it's nice that they're free online too for those of us that have been players since the inception of the game, so that we're not having to go out and buy a brand new starter set just for the rules.
Yeah.
Well, and I think making the core rules available to check out before you get into the game, it's a nice thing to do, because what if it turns out like, oh, I kind of hate this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Too.
That is always the risk, right? Like, there's a chance that some of the people reading are like, yeah, no, I'm okay. So it potentially takes away from the impulse buy. But if the rules are available for free online, that also kind of means that you advertisement, right? Because everybody that reads it and goes, oh, I really like this, has a bigger chance of going out to buy it. The actual starter set itself. So we've already kind of touched on the fact this is UCM versus the Biophyces. It comes with a new set of card terrain. So that's paper mats and cardboard buildings, which continue to look awesome. I'm just going to... They look brilliant. Still. Yep. I love the design of the new Biophyces. Very reminiscent of what's in Fleet, but it looks different enough that you can see that the scale is different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the one that has the arms coming down. That's probably my favorite of the new ships. I can't find oh, there it is. The one that has kind of like the guns hanging down from the body is probably my favorite of the drop ship type things in the Biophyces. And then we should probably look at the infantry, which are tiny versions of the larger one.
Which, and I'll say this, and I don't know if it's just because I have, the Shaltari or whatnot, but the detail on these is so much better than the Shaltari I've got, and I don't know if it's just because of the age of my Shaltari or what.
Yes, it'll be because of the age.
But these just look so good and so much better detailed.
You may remember from our chat with Dave a year and a half ago at this point that they have said that they will be redoing all of the infantry based on the strike team stuff.
I do vaguely remember that, yeah.
So this, in theory, has been scaled down from the 28mm versions and then probably touched up a little bit to make it work in the scale. So because make no mistake, you can't just shrink things. That's not how scale works.
Yeah. I have got downloaded the rules already, and these bases are smaller than the old legacy bases, but you can still use the old legacy bases. For those of you returning players, you can still use your bigger bases. The infantry bases are actually bigger in the old version.
I wonder why they changed it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's
advances in molding and casting, so they can make it smaller and look better still. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they look... I guess they look a little narrower.
It's like a 17 by 33 instead of like a 22 by 43 or something like that.
Okay. So it's not a huge difference.
No.
Interesting. Oh, I'm not complaining. I'm just surprised that they changed it. I really like the look of this box set. I think it looks great.
I probably will be
that's-
changing out my PHR infantry though to these new ones because I really like the look of these new ones. As George said, the scopes on these infantry are much better than my original 2011, 2012 scopes. Not that I'm not complaining about my 2011, 2012 scopes.
There have been whispers of that there is more new stuff to come. That was teased a year and a half ago when we spoke with Dave. Yeah. The whispers that we've been hearing, and I'm not going to say where it comes from, even though you were all in that chat as well. But the whispers that we've been hearing is that the other plastics for other forces are not coming soon. They're a little bit ways off. So, but there is definitely other stuff coming. We also have a bunch of starter armies, and we'll be talking more about starter armies later. So each of these are valued somewhere between 1,500 and 1,750 points. It depends. They're not all exactly the same. These are bundles that are kind of put together for value as opposed to point value, if that makes sense. And there's one particular one that has much less points than the others, but there is a reason for it, and we'll come back to it in a minute. These army bundles are an insanely good deal, I think. That's just my personal opinion. They are pretty much all older sculpts, with the exception of one, that one being the Resistance. The infantry in the Resistance is new.
Yep.
And at this stage is the only place to get it. That will change at a later stage, but at this point in time, you cannot buy this Resistance infantry separately. The Resistance is the one that's a smaller lot. This is a 1,000 point force, and that is because the materials used in the Resistance are older materials that are more expensive to produce.
Plus, that larger hovercraft is massive.
Massive, yeah.
Too.
So you're getting less points value in this because, like I said, they've been bundled together for a value funds wise, not points wise. They are meant to be a starter army. They're not meant to be necessarily a balanced against each other thing. But they should be a very good way to start the game and a very... £150 for these, this is a really good value. I'm not going to lie. There is part of me that's really tempted to buy into this, despite the fact that I'm not supposed to be buying any more games. I already own Scourge drop fleets as drop zone stuff. I don't even know where it is. It never got, some of it got built, but it never got, I didn't even prime it. It never made it past anywhere. Because I bought a whole heap of, you guys may remember. I was like, I'm going to get into this just before COVID hit. And then, of course, by the time it's all over, I've moved on and I'm doing Entropy City and da-da-da-da-da. But yeah, I love the value in these.
I love the
is
look
amazing.
of these little. Yeah, I love the look of the little battle walkers for the Resistance army.
Yes, I can't argue with you there. Do you have you're being suspiciously quiet, George? Do you have thoughts that you want to share?
No, I just think it's really great. US price points on these are 237 with the exception of the Resistance being 268. But I just think it's really great that, say you have friends that play this game, right? And you're like, you don't want to get fully on into it, but you want to be able to play with them. You could just buy this.
Yeah.
From what I've got, this is still more than what I've got, drop zone wise. But this still looks like a really good, this is really what you need to play a good, decent game of it.
Yeah.
These are well-rounded out armies.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the fact of you could just buy one box, get this, and maybe this is part of the reason why I didn't have this much is because I didn't have this to begin with, and I was slowly building and maybe got a little frustrated or something like that. just as an example of Drop Fleet, at first I was getting a little frustrated with playing the game because of, how we were doing the Grow League. And until it was past 1,000 points, the Shaltari were really ineffective. And then once you hit like that actual like point value of like a proper game, that's when the factions really can you're utilizing all the bits and pieces that make them work. And I think it's really great to just you could buy this and have most of those pieces.
Yeah. Going back to the starter set for a second, it is probably worth noting a lot of the models share the same sprue. So if you're splitting this with a friend, you're going to have to split the sprues up because it's been designed in a way where there are some Biophysis stuff and some UCM stuff on the same sprue. So if you're buying these sets and intend to split it with somebody, you are going to have to cut the sprue up. You're not going to be able to just go, here's your bit, here's my bit. There's going to be a little bit more work involved, which I don't have a problem with, but I know that there's been a number of discussions in a couple of the Discords, including ours, about how odd it is that they're not putting them on different sprues. There is actually a reason why, and we'll probably discuss that another time, because it's something that's quite common in starter sets. I will say it's not something that Warcradle do. Warcradle, generally speaking, will separate their stuff off.
Games Workshop doesn't do it either.
Not anymore. They used to.
Yeah, well, the recent ones they haven't, I should say.
I had a bit of a, I'm going to say a rant on one of the, was it our Discord or was it a different one? I think it was ours, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's generally, there's two ways of looking at it when you're creating plastic sprues for a starter set. If you include everything in one sprue, yes, it does mean that you can't then use those same sprues when you sell them separately. You have to get them redesigned. But it helps reduce the cost of the overall box, which means you can sell the starter set for a cheaper price, which is the point.
That's fair.
That doesn't mean that creating them on different sprues is bad business. It also doesn't mean that this is bad business. But if you're trying to sell a box that's hopefully going to sell in large numbers, getting it down helps sell in large numbers and helps counteract the fact that you're then having to redesign a sprue as well. The other point would be, well, yes, but if it was designed separate to begin with, then you don't have to get it redesigned. It just depends on how you look at it and how you want to do the business. I would not say that either point of business is bad. It's just different strategies. But it's also an example of why some starter sets are more expensive than others. But beyond some companies being greedy and stuff, of course. But the value in this box set is magnificent. I don't think you can make any arguments about it being £120 for what you're getting in this box is a steal.
Yeah.
To the point where I don't know how they're making money on this box. It'd have to be a very small margin.
Yeah. Between the cardboard for the terrain, the rule book,
the
armies, the tokens.
Yeah. I think this is a release that they've planned out extremely well. Up next, we have a Kickstarter from Crooked Dice called Steel Justice, and this is definitely not related to RoboCop in any way. It's definitely not. I'm not even sure why you would suggest that, Socks. How dare you?
I know, I'm sorry.
There is, however, a policeman that looks rather like a robot, and some business people, and some weird-looking guy in a sleeveless shirt. I don't know what that
looks like he's a wrestler of some sort, it looks like.
Yeah, that was my guess.
Yeah. Like, being Crooked Dice, these are all going to be references to movies of some kind, and I'm guessing that he is... Oh, actually, no, you might be right there. Because you have what looks like a Michael Buffer guy right next to it. Oh, also, that's totally the old man, the businessman right next to what's not RoboCop, right? It's definitely the old man. And then we have some policemen that look like they're probably from Detroit. I mean, I'm sure they're not, but they look like they're from Detroit.
Or Chicago.
No, it's Detroit because it's definitely not RoboCop. And then we have some. I mean, I'm just going to say hockey, but these guys have chainsaws and guns, so it's obviously. So yeah, it's very much near. I want to say it's retro sci-fi, sort of. I really like what they're doing here.
If you keep going, then there's like, a dude that looks like
Cyberpunk.
Jax from Mortal Kombat with his cybernetic arms.
Yeah.
The other dude totally looks like street clothes Ken from Street Fighter, like,
or Final Fight or something, or
yeah.
This feels like they're going for beat 'em up video games.
Oh, hey, go down a little further. There's a Tron.
There is.
Yeah, the group of guys underneath the punks with mohawks. Guy on the left, that's Tron or...
Oh, it is too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really, really like what they're doing here.
80s themed.
Yeah, it's 80s sci-fi. So these are all sculpted at a 28mm scale, but apparently can be comparable to larger ranges. They're apparently around 32mm tall, probably because they're supposed to be taller people, as opposed to the scale being different. Because in one sentence they say they're 28mm scale, and then immediately say each figure's about 32mm tall. I really like what they're doing here. It's like I said, it's a retro sci-fi is probably the wrong thing because retro sci-fi makes me think of 70s sci-fi. So that's probably I'm wording that wrong. But yeah, it's 80s sci-fi. I think George said that. It was either George or Sox.
I think at this point now, I think 80s sci-fi now also falls into the realm of retro sci-fi as well.
Which is why I said it. But the reason I'm correcting myself is because if people are listening on the podcast and not watching the video, they're probably going to get a different idea of what I'm trying to describe by saying, because they're going to start thinking of like 70s and 60s movies like Flash Gordon and that sort of, which is not what the vibe of this is.
Yeah.
Because as much as, yes, we have a video version of this podcast. You should probably watch it. I am aware that most people listen to, we have a lot more people that listen than we do watch. The view numbers on our video edition is not high enough for it to be equal. Depends week to week, or fortnight to fortnight rather.
Right.
I really like what they're doing here. I've said it like 3 or 4 times. This is, I mean, it's obviously a version of 7TV. We've discussed 7TV before. It's a game where you're essentially playing out episodes of a TV show, and each game is an episode.
Bruce.
Yes?
Scroll down to the stretch goals.
Okay.
Look at the objective tokens.
Those are awesome.
They're straight out of... Yeah, so my beat-em-up description was perfect. Oh.
Those are fantastic.
I really like the toxic waste dump too.
Scroll all the way down. They've got a big, huge robot with a huge buzzsaw.
The big belly Borg boss is quite fun.
Yeah, 2 more down from him. Terabot 2000.
Yep, which is definitely straight out of a video game, and I can't think which one it is. That is definitely out of a beat 'em up or a shoot 'em up style game.
It also has the feel of a hunter killer from Terminator 2.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Terminator as well, not specifically Terminator 2.
So there's a couple of beat 'em up games that I'm thinking of. I mentioned Final Fight already. Streets of Rage would be another one. And obviously Double Dragon being the original that inspired them all.
Sure.
That's a strong feeling of what a lot of this is.
Yeah.
Plus
for
RoboCop
sure.
and like everything. Oh, there is actually a Terminator mini. Because you can get a mini only pledge if you only want the minis. Again, I really like what they're doing here. I think this is magnificent. Oh, there's a digital bundle. Terrain-wise, fits very nicely in with what they're designing.
Are you talking about the Terminator on the motorcycle with the shotgun, Bruce?
I am.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely not a Terminator. I'm not sure why I would suggest such a thing. It's somebody that likes to eradicate certain people from the past. It's completely different.
No. That one wants to protect someone from the past. That's
actually no. You're right there because they don't have a motorcycle in the original movie. Yeah. This is excellent. I just saw definitely not Gremlins and definitely not Pennywise.
Oh yeah, I just scrolled past that one too.
Yeah, okay, I need to stop looking at this now. This is, like I said, I really, really like this, and I keep on repeating myself, so it's time to move on. Up next,
all right.
I discussed last episode about how people want us to talk about Battlezone. So, Battletech. So, hey, we have some Battletech news to talk about, which is kind of very simple. Lawscape, the people that do the hex terrain that we've looked at a couple of times. George, there was a link that we shared with each other recently where we were trying to work out if it was actually real or AI. That space thing.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be real, and it was Lawscape that were doing it. So yeah, they are an existing company that makes some excellent hex-based terrain. And they have announced that at GenCon and online, which means in theory this should be online somewhere, but I haven't found it. I could probably look at. I saved this like a few days ago, but they have a bunch of new terrain that is coming. If I go back to the main, see, I don't see it. Ooh, I see a link to a YouTube video that I'm going to click on blind without knowing where it's taking me. This could be bad. So we get views of a Battletech game in progress. So yeah, it's official 3D hex terrain for the game. Battletech does, it is a hex-based game, so that makes sense. The trailer is definitely very CGI, just trying to represent what is in the game. If you continue to about halfway through the video, you get a look of what the terrain looks like, and it's really pretty. So, all I did was I clicked on the Lawscape Facebook page.
Yeah.
And the very top with like a very generic, boring-looking picture. If you go about halfway down, you get a look of like a grass mat with the terrain inside it. It's really nice looking terrain, honestly. Like, it's those hex ones that kind of build up on each other. They did it for like dungeons and, well, generic D&D type stuff. Heroescape is, that's where it's all started. But I think this is great.
It looks like they're going to have 4 different types.
Scenery styles.
I'm trying to think of the word. Foliage, Arctic, desert, and lunar.
Moon base, yeah.
Yeah. Which should be important because, like, you don't want all of your terrain to look the same all the time.
Right.
I really like the look of this. The reason I brought up Battletech in our episode last week and, like, how would people like us to cover it? Because, I mean, yes, obviously, when news comes up, I can cover it. But as someone that's never looked at the game, I'm limited in what I can look at because half the time, I mean, I could look at a bot and go, I think it's this one, but I don't know enough about it to know for sure because I've only ever really played the video games, Mech Warrior. So I don't know the game very well. I did, in theory, have a game lined up this week to try it for the first time. That fell through, unfortunately. But will hopefully happen sometime soon. But yeah, I really like the way this looks. Yeah. Pause for a second. All right.
Back again. Hi, Bruce.
All right. Up next,
Warlord Games.
we have the Zulu game. Epic battles.
So-
we kind of teased that this was happening recently.
Yeah, it was last episode we talked about. We just showed the banner, the announcement banner. Really, now we actually have the actual scopes of the game for the miniatures, and they look pretty good.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Some people were commenting in some of the Warlord comments of why don't they have the front row of the guys with their firearms in the ready position as if they're firing? Well, it's hard to, one, store your minis like that.
Yep.
At this scale, and two, in some of the other games, you just have big long lines of infantry, and they're all molded together, and so it's just easier to have them all in that position.
Yep.
I mean, they have.
Yep. No, you're right. Keep going.
They have some of them that have them in their firing position, but there's not a lot. But I mean, I like the look of these. I don't know if I'll get this, but they have a couple of sets. They have this one that I have linked here. This is the main starter set for $400, and then they have another one that's based off of the movie Zulu, the battle that was depicted in the movie Zulu. They have a set for that, Rourke's Drift. So.
I
different ways for
really
you to
like
get
the
into the
look
game.
of this, especially given the scale. Like, there's always a risk, right, where like you're looking at things from this particular period of time where you can feel like things are exploitative, but I don't get that vibe from this. It just feels like it's It feels like it's showing the culture as it was. It doesn't feel like it's trying to create stereotypes, which is a hard balance to do at this period in time, because a lot of the history we have is shaped by problematic opinions of those in charge at the time. But, well, they show off the sprues, which is quite nice as well. I can see what you mean about, yeah, it would be hard to have that on the sprue in the way it's designed. Also, I like the fact that they're doing it in different plastics.
Yeah, that way if players don't want to paint, they have them in different colors so that you can pull it straight out of the box, put them on the sprues, don't have to worry about painting, and you can play a game.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know about you, George, but I think this box set looks really, really cool.
I mean, yes, it looks cool if you're into nerdy historical stuff.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, the only thing that pops in my head is just, an old movie. So it's,
Yeah, right.
Which I've never seen. I'm not sure
I've
if I
seen
should
bits and pieces
admit
of it.
that.
yeah. I mean, again, this is one of those things where, for a complete box of like, this is the entire game, like, it's on the expensive side, but the fact that it is all miniatures, and I'm guessing this is probably a fairly in-depth type of game.
Yeah, and
I
it's a massively there's a lot in these boxes too.
Yeah. You're,
Oh, some of this terrain is if you open up the Rourke's Drift box, there's some really nice looking terrain in this.
yeah.
Oh, I love that house. I imagine that this house is designed off something from the game. Also, even the walls, like they've been built around carts and stuff, which I assume is a reference to the movie.
Yeah.
I can only make assumptions on that because, again, I haven't seen it. Looks like the terrain is MDF because there's plastic, MDF, and resin. So there is some resin in this as well.
I mean, even look at the battle map that it comes with. It shows you where to put the building so you can accurately depict the battle that you see in the movie.
Yeah. For those that are wondering why you have to put things in certain spots, it's because this is a historical game and they know exactly how it happened. So it's based on something that really happened. They know where the buildings were. Does that mean that you couldn't do it another way? Well, no, you could, but then that's kind of defeating the point of the box.
There's going to be, there's going to be some people that's just like, no, it has to be played like this because this is what happened.
Yep.
So
it's also why you will notice there's a lot more of one force than there is of the other. Because that's how it happened.
That's the historical account. Yep.
Yeah. I'm not going to say which side, but it's possible that one of them didn't take the other side very seriously and paid for that in a lot of blood. I'm not going to say which side. I mean, historically, there's one particular country that did that a lot. I'm not going to say which one it is, but it might be really obvious.
It's why they had red coats and brown pants, so their fear could be hidden.
Yep. Up next, we have... I'm just going to say what I did before the show start. Another dinosaur game, though this one is more of a fantasy dinosaur game, but still... And I know that you answered this question offline, George, but I'm going to say this anyway because I think it's worth having this discussion. Why is there so many dinosaur games lately? Like, this is like the 6th or 7th one that we've discussed in a matter of months on what was, at one point, very niche. Now, my initial thought was there's been a lot of success in video games doing this lately. The Isle comes to mind, which is really huge on Twitch at times at the moment. And it's not a lot. I think it's Path of Titans is another one. There's like 3 or 4 games that's all like dinosaur survival stuff. This, however, is more of a fantasy. It's people riding dinosaurs into battle type thing. But still...
I wouldn't call them people either.
Well, no, they're insects.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But
Yeah, I guess they are. It's their armor that's making them look funky.
Yeah.
So when I said that offline, I had not looked at this and whatnot. This feels unique to me. Like it's got a cartoony-ish kind of vibe, but it's not overtly, and it's not like a realistic vibe. Like it's that very fine in between of it's realistic, but it's still cartoony.
I will say, as much as I'm openly making the comment about why there's so many dinosaur games lately, I'm not actually complaining about that. I love dinosaurs. I've said this on multiple occasions. Dinosaurs are cool. Everybody should be asked what their favorite dinosaur is more often. I'm just because there's been so much of it in such a short amount of time. When we looked at the first one a few months ago, my comment was I'm surprised there hasn't been more of this up until now. But I've gone from that to why are there so many of these in a matter of 3 or 4 months? I'm not complaining. I'm just amazed that clearly a lot of different people have had the same idea at around the same time. This also feels more like a board game than a war game too. So that also makes it stand out a little more.
Yeah.
This is very chibi in its art design. And again, I'm not complaining about that. That I really like the design of these minis actually.
Yeah. What I really hope for is that there is this color variation difference between obviously the two factions. Like, the dinosaurs are just gray, and then, you have the 2 different color tribes.
Yep.
Yeah.
There appears to be, because if you look at the two forces against one another, the dinosaurs on both sides are exactly the same. It's only the riders that are different in that case.
Well, no, actually, the riders are the same. They're actually just different colors, too. If you look at the long-necked brontosauruses, they're facing
the
opposite
same.
directions.
Yeah.
They are the same. So, yeah, I guess they would have to be different colors to designate,
Oh,
one
and there
side
is one
versus the other.
dinosaur that's different too. The two smaller dinosaurs aren't the same. It's only the bigger ones that are the same.
Yeah, well, maybe they're just not showing all the small dinosaurs on all the both sides.
Well, this is also a preview, so they're obviously not showing everything yet.
Yeah, so
I'm very curious to see how this develops. Also, appears to have unique dice. They do have numbers on them, but they seem to be numbers with Roman numerals. Because I think that's meant to be VI, not 15.
15.
But I could be wrong.
I think it's 15 because you look at the red one in one of the other pictures, and then there's a 1 and a 0. It looks like it's like 10. So I think there's
Oh, actually, no,
factors
yeah,
of
you're right.
5.
No, you're
Other
right.
than some of them have 1s, but I think they're in factors of 5.
Yeah.
Other than every so often you'll see a 1.
So it's going to have completely unique dice then. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really keen to see more about this. Time will tell, I guess. Over 30 sculpted miniatures based directly on artwork by the Miko, who I'm not familiar with. But if these minis are anything to go by, their artwork must be pretty good. Coming up next, no, I don't think we need to talk about this, do we, Socks?
No, we need to talk about this. Yes,
Are we
do.
sure?
We need Dystopian Wars. Commonwealth.
But
starter set.
there was something else I linked that's been disappeared and deleted. I think we should talk about that instead.
The blog post? No. Here's the real thing.
But for the record, I'm teasing Socks because I had an older link and he shared a new one. We're talking about exactly the same product.
We are.
All right, Socks.
So yes,
you can have your
Dystopian
30-minute
Wars.
rant on how great Dystopian Wars is.
It is great. So yes, we have a new Commonwealth starter set for Dystopian Wars 4th edition. So again, we'll have 3 cruisers, 3 frigates, and then some hovercraft, and then a couple of SRS tokens. I'm still loving these new sculpts and how they're coming out. I mean, yes, they're very similar to the old stuff, but I like these newer sculpts that they're bringing out.
George, is it just me or do the hovercraft look like they're the top of a submarine? It looks like the hatch of a submarine. You can continue now, Song.
Yeah, kind of.
I've said this about the Commonwealth stuff before. I really do like the designs.
Yeah, so that the little submarine hatch hovercraft is their escort token. So
yeah, I like the fact that they're all different. I've said it before. You could very easily just cheap out on this and say, okay, we're just going to do, this is an escort and it's just something that has the logo on it. But no, they've actually made it an actual
token,
an actual unique sculpt
for each faction too.
For each faction, and it's really good to see.
Yeah.
We also have some Armored Clash.
Yep. So we have a new group coming out for Crown, the Crown Raj battle group. So a more Indian subcontinent battle force coming out for the Crown. So in September as well.
I really like
guns.
that they're fleshing the world out, and it's not just because
UK
in a lot of
Canada.
games like this, where like it's a worldwide conflict, you get a view of the major players, and you're kind of left to assume for everybody else. But we kind of like the original version of Dystopian Wars had like an Egypt and stuff in it as well. I like the fact that we're kind of getting that fleshed out in Armored Clash. It's
have it in
not
Dystopian
just
Wars
England;
too.
it's other pieces that are part of it as well.
Yeah. You had it in Dystopian Wars too. You had the And so I can see with 4th edition stuff coming out, we'll see the same thing for the Crown with their sub Indian continent navies as well coming out. But yeah, I like that they're doing this for the Crown for Armored Clash. So those of you as Crown players, you'll have this box coming out next month as well to look forward to. So
yeah, I like the design of the.
I would
like
to comment. I would like to comment. They're actually making these appear more to be Sikh instead of just the Indian continent.
Yeah,
just as a clarification.
Yeah, I really the thing that makes it, because yes, I do realize they've done it with Dystopian Wars as well. The reason I feel that it's a bit different in Dystopian Wars is because you actually get people. You actually get to see the people in this, whereas ships being slightly different isn't. It's still cool, don't get me wrong, but it kind of feels more unique when you're actually getting a view of the actual infantry and the actual, and it
other units.
You can see where it's been inspired. Like none of this feels stereotype. You can see where it's been inspired by the actual area in the world and the culture. Yeah. It feels like it's a celebration. Like Black Panther was a celebration of African culture, this feels like it's a futuristic celebration of that part of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong on that, but that's just how it feels to me. Yeah, I think that's it for the news.
Trim, glue, prime, paint.
What have you been up to, Socks?
Well, George, you've seen our comments on the chat about my humidity problems down here in Mississippi. We realized that this house doesn't have a built-in dehumidifier into the AC system like our old house did. And so it's very, very humid. And when I'm trying to print stuff, yes, I have a dehumidifier back there by my printer. I have to empty it out 4 times a day, and it's still not enough. So,
for those that's listening, yes, that means that Socks lives in the area between numbers.
Yes. So I ordered a 4-spool dryer that can feed directly into my AMS of my printer. So I'll be hooking that up. I also went to the store locally to get paint for my boys because they're wanting to paint their Armored Clash stuff. And while I was there, I found speed paint marker starter set. So I bought that. And then I ordered Actone Panzer. I didn't order any of the models yet. I just wanted to order the rule book and see what it was like. I am probably going to be ordering some of the models. It's all bolt action again. So, yeah, I'm getting back into the bolt action possibly. And then...
You've heard it here first, folks. Socks is selling all of his Dystopian Wars and Armored Clash.
No. I'm not losing my status for Warhost. No. Not, especially after today, because I actually got some hobby done.
But you have to. You're not allowed to buy new games without selling your old ones. That's the rule.
You're right. I'm not. So I started building my huge command ferric for my Sultanate for Armored Clash. So I am liking the look, how it's coming along. I'll be getting some teal green on there, as well as some other colors. So
nice.
That's what I've been up to. Finally, I'm getting some paint on the hobbies.
What about yourself, George?
I've been working on my English. I haven't because it still hasn't shipped yet.
Do we want to have this rant? I'm quite open to having the rant if you want.
I am just... It seems like I hemmed and hawed a little bit. I went with the Seamus box off of a recommendation you gave of this is an easy one. You know, this would be a good, to have two crews and stuff like that. I went off, and they both had the same, Victorian British, feel to them as far as the appearance. So it's like, I went with that one. It was one of the first ones released. The second keyword box is also out, fine and everything. The one I really want keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed and delayed. I actually just checked the page again, and now I can actually view the product at least.
Yeah.
So, but
So it's
again,
been what, 8
and on
months?
it was supposed to be February. Let me pull up my orders from Valhalla Hobby,
Yeah.
the
Like-
sponsor of this episode.
Well, this isn't the first time we've commented on this, but like, there's been a lot of products that's been getting delayed by Weird for a long time. Ever since the new version
January.
of so ever since the new
January.
version of this game was announced, and it's worth noting, it was a few months after the game was announced and that box was announced that you ordered this. So I'm pretty sure that the February date, I think, was a date that it had been delayed to already. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering that.
So to be fair, a lot of things have happened. So it was available for pre-order on Valhalla Hobby's website and whatnot.
For the record, this is not a complaint about Valhalla Hobby. They can't control this. This is a weird complaint.
Yeah. Well, and again, like we have to cut Weird a lot of slack too. So it was pre-ordered January, supposed to deliver and start shipping in February. The ship that it was shipping on caught on fire, and so they couldn't deliver, and so they had to get things remade. But then they changed the date on when this was going to release too. So,
but this is the third or fourth time that date's been changed now.
Yes, for
how many times? How many excuses do we get for the ship burnt? Like, that was months ago at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and that did affect the original ship release to retail. Now when at Adepticon they said also with 4th edition we're going to try to release the keyword boxes together, so there's not such a delay. The other keyword box for English Ivan still has no date yet. It's not even been announced. So what the heck?
When we first discussed this, I'm like, because yes, when that boat that, you can't blame Weird for that. But it gets the reason, I kind of feel like it's time that Weird haven't said anything else since. It just keeps on getting delayed. I don't feel like this is an acceptable delay anymore. I think it's time that Weird need to acknowledge that something's going on. Maybe if it's still just that ship, I don't understand why. Is it that they have to wait for a factory to come out? Okay, sure. Why haven't they said that?
Yeah.
Because, yes, you have to wait for your place in line, but it's not like you make a product once and you continually have products being made. That's how manufacturing works. So how are we not at least in a second or third wave of this yet? I love Malifaux. I do. I'm a large reason why you got into it because I talk about how great it is all the time.
Yep.
I still haven't played the new edition.
I have
because
I haven't either because my crew hasn't been released yet.
Yeah. Look, my reason is slightly different. It's because I've been focusing on other things.
Yeah.
But at this, I know that you're frustrated. And for the record, I also know you're trying not to show how frustrated you are on camera. I'm appearing more frustrated than you are.
Yeah. So
but this isn't affecting me. I'm never buying that box. But it's affecting my enjoyment of Malifaux. I love Weird. They make my favorite game.
So,
but
then
when's the excuses stop?
Yeah. So to continue on with Sox's issue of 3D printing, I am also having said issue, and Sox did get a solution. I could have also gotten a very similar solution. There is a Sunlu. They make heated enclosure that I could put my AMS light in and still use that. So it was a cheaper box versus because yours is probably in the 200 range.
140.
140. Okay. The one I'm looking at from Sunlu is in the 120, and my AMS like mounts into that. So it's a completely standalone. It's just a dryer unit. It's not a.
Yeah.
It's a dryer that integrates directly with my AMS. But I went on the route of, well, I'll just print a dry enclosure. So I got desiccants, I got little hydrometers to monitor temperature and humidity within the box, ordered PLA and all this other stuff to make the box. But I'd have to print it, which I can't print something if I have too much humidity and whatnot. So I got myself a little like $35 single filament dryer because I'm printing these, single color, things to put the filament in so it stays dry. And it worked. It was getting the ambient humidity in the dryer was reading 20%. And the top layer stuff was coming out nice and smooth. But the vertical portions are still wavy and wrinkly. And I did a lot of digging and research, and the ambient humidity, which is right now roughly the same as yours because of how I cool my house, is still high enough that it's affecting the filament as it's being run through the hot end.
Yeah.
So, I either have the option of, well, let's spend more money and get an enclosure to maintain the humidity in that enclosure. So I have to maintain the filament. I have to maintain the air around the printer, or not print, or buy a printer that has a built-in enclosure for climate control.
You've got the A1, right?
I have the A1 with the AMS light.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, with how much the dryer for the AMS would cost and how much an enclosure would cost, I would have spent the same amount of money if I had just gotten the Bamboo HSC or something like that with an AMS2. I think it's like a $500 or $700 printer setup from Bamboo. That's what I'm looking at, like how much all of this I'm potentially have to spend to fix this issue.
I think you're referring to the P1S. I could be wrong. That's the next level up. I've been looking at 3D printers for I bought a couple of filament printers at this point and had nothing but problems with them. The thing I like about the Bamboo stuff is they work right out of the box, more or less. Like, until you have a problem, they work out of the box.
Yep.
You don't have this 3.5 months of trying to get them level before you can print things like you did with some, because it's just the technology has moved on.
Yep.
I was originally looking at the A1, which is why I asked for your opinions. Once you'd had time to play with it. The fact that you're having so much problems with the humidity makes me think, okay, yeah, that's definitely not where I want to go. Because in my summer, I will have exactly the same problem.
Yeah. The PS2 with AMS2 is essentially like
P2S.
the cheapest. P2S, sorry.
It's the one I'm looking at as well.
It's their cheapest enclosed with that can handle an AMS unit. Which that's $750. I paid $400 for my A1 with AMS, so that's $350 cheaper.
Yeah, P1S is the next level up.
Yeah,
from what I understand, the P2S has the better because the P1S kind of has a camera that's like it's like one frame every 30 seconds or something. So you can maintain the P2S better. And I don't think the other one has the cold air cooling. I could be wrong. I think they're physically the same size.
Yeah, so, but, 400 versus 750. The dryer I'm looking at is 120. An enclosure is 150 to 180. So almost at the same price. But the enclosure is not controlled, it's just an enclosure. It controls the temperature, no moisture control. So I'd have to find some moisture control option. At least with the PS2 or P2S, that's too close to the PlayStation 2. The P2S, it does maintain humidity control because it is a heated chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, my friend that's been doing a lot of the printing and stuff for me, because I got a couple of, I think I mentioned I got like an organizer for a couple of games that I have printed and stuff. He has the X2D, which he highly recommends, which is slightly larger build print size, just by the height is slightly higher. But it's got dual nozzle 3D printing, and like it is significantly more expensive. But yeah, I would probably, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to save. I'm waiting, and I'm going to save up for the P2S.
So in reality, what I'm going to do, if I do upgrade again past the A1, and I'm trying to find it. Yes. What I'll probably do, no, I don't think that's it. Maybe that's it. I can't remember which one it is. I'm going to find it here in half a second because I have one more to look at. It's the, I think it's the H2S.
Mm-hmm.
Because that puts it to a build plate of 340 by 320.
Yep.
So if I'm going to drop the money on doing it in an enclosed printer, I'm going to do one. I'm going to go back to the, because that's the one thing I am missing from the Ender I gave to Nathan is the build plate size.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting past that 250, it says 256, but 250 is the real workable. Be able to get past that to the 300s is, I am missing that. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I guess that comes
and
to
beyond that, my bench has been full of printing this dry box that's like, it's not going to solve my problem. So don't know if I'm going to. I mean, I bought all the crap for it, and then it's just like I did a quick test print, of like something else when I had the little dryer, and it's like it's still not fixed the issue. Like it's just I have too much ambient humidity too.
Yeah. All right, my turn. I have finally started something. I have been painting. Please work. Oh my god, it's actually working. I've been painting my He-Man up. So this is Ram Man. None of these are finished yet. Well, one of them's close to being finished, but none of them are actually finished. I'm really happy with how the skins come out on He-Man. It is probably like he's more pink like he is in the cartoon. He's not tanned like he is in the movie. But that's okay. I am basing this on the cartoon as well. So I have gone with cartoon
Nice.
Man-at-Arms. I'm not basing them on Idris Elba. I was genuinely tempted to, but I just don't think there's enough. I just don't feel like the sculpt. It would just look like it's been done wrong, I think. As tempted as I was to try to do Idris Elba, the face is just, it's too small. So I think it lends itself better to do it the other way. Trapjaw. We have Evil Lyn. Triclops. Again, none of these are finished. Merman. I'm really happy with the color that I picked for Merman. I actually mixed this color between two because the yellow on his outfit is like it's got a slight goldish tinge to it. But this I'm very happy with. I know that lighting wise it doesn't work insanely well in this room, but I'm really happy with the colors on that. I think I picked pretty much perfectly. I could have chosen to go a lighter blue and try to reminisce with the movie, but I chose to stick with the cartoon aesthetics just because that is what the models are based on, is the original cartoon. So that's the main reason why I've gone that way with all of them, because as much as me wanting to buy this set and paint this set up was inspired by the cartoon, by the movie, the cartoon is what I'm basing these off. I will also receive my frigate boxes probably Monday, Tuesday. I don't know the exact day because it's just estimation by Australia Post, but I will have 2 of the original frigate boxes coming in, which will be all of the frigates that I will need. As much as, yes, I would love to get more cruisers, like at least I'll actually be able to have games now. So Dropzone Commander will be able to be in my near future. Hobby-wise, I also had a game of Entropy City yesterday. Wait, was it yesterday? No, it was Friday. So Steve, my housemate, and I had a game down at the gaming arena where Steve absolutely wiped the table with me. So my history with Entropy City remains strong. I continue to lose every game of my own game that I ever play. But in saying that, first time in a long time, it was just because that's how the game went and not because I made a lot of stupid decisions because I wanted to show off mechanics. It's just how the game went, and that it was a lot of fun. It's the first game of Entropy City I've played for probably 6 months, which is shameful to say, really. I've kind of been distracted by so many things that I just haven't gotten to it, and I need to get to it more. So I need to make an effort to get it on the table. I was, in theory, supposed to have another game of it this week, but there was somebody I was lining up a game with, and it just never came to fruition because they got distracted by life, I suppose. I'm not having a go at this person. It's fine. I will catch up with them another time. I've actually had the last week off, so I've kind of spent this week just relaxing, getting my head into gear, kind of just taking time for me. This is a week I took off for Entropy City, but at the same time, I also kind of knew I kind of just needed some time for me. I've also spent a lot of this last week researching and chasing something that you two know about, but nobody else did yet. I did tease it to the Patreon, and at the end of this episode, I will be revealing what that was. People that are watching the video may have already picked up on it, but yeah, I will. At the end of the episode, there will be a tease. Not a tease, there will actually be a reveal for Patreon. I did a video that I posted exclusively on Patreon, which was basically me sitting there and saying, something's changed, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you to tell me what it is. I haven't had anybody make any guesses yet, but yeah, I am going to reveal it to Patreon at the end of the episode.
Talk nerdy to me.
Starter armies. We already talked about them.
We did.
A little bit.
So, this is Sox's idea for a game chat. So we're talking not specifically about starter sets, starter armies.
Yep.
It is it's worth noting, this isn't something everybody does. I think it's something everybody should do. And although we are going to talk about them, I would probably say that the Games Workshop spearheads and combat patrols only barely fit in this margin. Because, I mean, yes, they are sold as a starter, but I'd make the argument that they're not really much of a starter army for that game. I mean, they are, but not in the same way. Like, if you look at the drop zone stuff that's been shown, that is the starter army.
I'm gonna say yes and no to both. Okay, and so here's why. So when you sit down with the Games Workshop Combat Patrol or Spearhead box, if you are sitting down to play Combat Patrol or Spearhead, those are starter armies. The problem is a majority of people playing Warhammer 40K, they're not playing Spearhead or Combat Patrol. So yes, those are starter armies for those games. People are usually buying those and not playing those games.
It is probably worth noting as well, although Spearhead genuinely does have a following and is a very good game, Combat Patrol doesn't get that attention because the game Combat Patrol is garbage. And I mean, it sucks. It sucked in 10th edition and then they changed nothing to fix it. So that's why the 40K version doesn't get an audience, because it just isn't worth playing.
So now on the next side of that, TTCombat.
Yep.
Those are starter armies.
Mm-hmm.
But as aforementioned with sprues, you don't necessarily have to build sometimes. As what it's be. Well, that's more prevalent in Drop Fleet, I guess, than Drop Zone.
Yeah.
So where, so if you do a Drop Fleet starter box, like they show you the picture, but that's not what you can have to build. There's lots of different options to build. So you could buy a starter fleet for, Drop Fleet, but then ultimately, maybe mess up on the build because you're like, oh, this is cool. And then you build it and play it, you're like, oh, this is not cool. So
part of this. Go ahead, or George.
Go.
Well, part of this stemmed from my conversation earlier in the chat of the tokens that you get in some of these 2-player starter sets.
Well.
And those of us that are long-term players, some of these tokens that we need for 3rd edition, you don't really need the tokens, but it would be beneficial to have them. Well, what's the only way you can get the tokens? You buy the 2-player starter set for Dropzone. That's the only way you can get the tokens, other than printing them on, and then you're just using paper cutout that you may glue onto a cardstock to make them a little more suitable. Or you find a way to 3D print your own. Or
third party. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas Warcraft Studios, every single one of their starter sets comes with a token sheet with new tokens for their games.
Well,
every single one, even their 2-player starter sets, even their single-player starter sets.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, Socks, I think you should. One of the updates, you can just buy their token set.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So again, like that is a company doing it right, because if we look at some of their their starter boxes, it's just like they have the big starter box, or they cut it in half. You have a smaller starter box, but then it's just like, if you already have the stuff, you just need the new edition stuff. Here's this, and it's just the new MacGuffins that you need.
Gubbins box, as Warcraft says. Gubbins.
Yeah, the Gubbins box. Yeah. And that's where my next tangent was going. Like Malifaux, for example. You buy a crew box. That is essentially also a starter army. It's not full point value, which is why there's usually 2 keyword boxes. And the difference is which version of the crew leader you use and all that other stuff to combine together. And guess what? Then you have a full crew for $100.
Yeah.
And then if you want to do, some of the more, like the versatiles, or, spend extra points to have someone from a different keyword, et cetera, like that goes from there. But Malifaux makes it really easy. Armor Clash, Dystopian Wars, they make it real easy. Like, because it's very specific. Like the Armor Clash, Dystopian Wars, they do have the couple of different variants.
Yep.
That you have the option to build. Drop Fleet goes way beyond that. It's just like, here's a sprue, build something.
Checking the rulebook description, it doesn't come with the tokens either. The Drop Fleet one didn't either, but the reason I was checking is because it was a possibility they changed it for this, but they haven't. The reason I checked is because the original version of the Drop Fleet rules came with the tokens that you need. None of the TTCombat ones have. Because the Battle for Earth didn't come with tokens and stuff either.
No.
Now, granted, like Sock said, you can download the tokens for free on the website. But they're not the same.
They're not a nice cardboard
No.
token. It's a paper cut, and then you maybe glue it onto a cardstock or print it on a cardstock. Or like George said, you buy a third party or you design some on the shelf and you 3D print them yourself.
You could probably make an argument as to whether it would be worth them to sell it. Because as much as, yes, it in theory should be really easy, like you put them on the website, the card tokens, you put it up there for £3 or £4, like you couldn't justify it for anything more than that. And as much as people will come back and say, you can't sell it for that much, that's way too much. Yeah, but I think you forget how much of a pain it is to store this stuff in a warehouse when it's just a cardboard. Like, do you have any idea how much of that would be destroyed in a warehouse just because it's sitting in the open air? Unless you have them individually wrapped in plastic, which you can't do. Like, that's just an environmental disaster waiting to happen. You would have to have a box, and like you take one out of the box and put it like you'd sell it for £3 or £4, and the reason it's that expensive is to make up for the fact that storing the stuff in a warehouse is problematic.
I mean,
but in saying that, how many people are going to buy them?
Yeah. It goes
they
that way
should
too.
sell a premium version of them on the website. If they don't want to do the cards, and I literally just described why they may not want to, they have a factory of laser cutters. There's no reason why they couldn't do a premium acrylic set like they do with Rumble Slam. They were doing one for Drop Fleet at one stage. I don't think it's on the website anymore.
It's not. I just checked. It's not. But I mean, I'm going to be having to buy the two core command card decks, one for each of my armies. I'm going to have to buy a PHR core card deck and a Shaltari card deck. Why not just add a couple of token sheets to that?
Yep.
And increase the price.
People, like, will everybody buy them? No, because some people are cheapskates and they would just use the paper. And that's fine. I'm not having a go at those people for being cheapskates. I understand why you wouldn't pay for it. But as much as paying £3 or £4 for a sheet of cardboard would be, let's be fair, a rip-off, I would gladly do it to support the company.
Yep.
Well, I would also gladly pay it too to have, the, official printed, like what we need for the game. One of the things, with Malifaux is like, there's also tokens needed for that game.
Yep.
They don't even pack assembly instructions in the boxes.
Nope.
So you have to go source your own for Malifaux. They don't have them, period.
They are on the website, and yes, you can search for exactly what you want. But for the record, I'm mentioning this for the audience, not to correct George, because I understand exactly why he's frustrated. I had the same thought when I first bought in.
Yeah, it's like,
I think what I would like to see from a Dropzone perspective, Fleet 2 for that matter, would be, as much as I understand that there'd be some people complaining about not being able to buy it separately, I'd like to see a bundle on the website that is the rulebook, the card terrain, and the tokens. I understand that people would complain that they can't buy the rulebook separately and that they can't buy the ruins, the card terrain separately. But I think it would be the smartest way to do it. Or you just bundle the tokens in with one of those two products.
No, Socks, when you say decks, I'm a little out of the loop here on. I've always been out of the loop on Zone. Is there like a deck for the game or for the faction is what
There's
you're
the
talking
command
there's
cards
a-
are back.
So there is a command card deck for that each faction will use, and then there's a faction specific one that you will then combine and make a 45 card deck out of those two decks. So you're going to need a core deck as well as your faction deck now for Dropzone.
Okay, so the one deck is universal for the game, the other deck is faction specific.
Faction specific, correct.
So yeah, in that case, yeah, I totally agree with, you know, for 3.0, a 3.0 rule book, the cardboard tokens, and the universal deck for 3.0 bundled together
Yeah.
as an option.
Yep.
I think that needs to be more commonplace in the industry, period.
And yeah, it
that's-
actually
and
would
that's
be a
where I'm getting
better
at with
solution to the terrain idea.
And that's what I'm getting at with War Cradle Studios does, is they have their governance box, yes, but then also each starter set has their own token sheet with the rules and a command deck. So just different company business models. So
Well, here's the thing, right? So I'll ask this of Bruce because this is a good easy one. So, well, maybe not. I'm not familiar with motorcycle engines, right? But you know, spark plugs are universal across, you know, a cruiser, a sport bike, a utility bike, whatever. Like, you know, some components are just universal across the board, right?
No, different bikes take different spark plugs. They all have spark plugs. Not all car engines take the same spark plugs either.
Right. But I'm saying, like, you know, that's more of a universal. Like a V6 engine takes the same kind of spark plug as another V6 engine. Like you go and you know, it's not a specific to an Indian spark plug. Like your
Not
spark
that I
plug
know
is
of, but yeah,
is used on other motorcycles. Just like, you know, shoe sizes are fairly universal. Just like, you know, motor oil is fairly universal. Just like, you know, lots of things across an industry, like, is a universal thing on a specific thing. And I think that's one of those things where in the gaming hobby industry, I think that something needs to become more universal is, you know, you could just get the new edition stuff. Like, you know, the rule book, the tokens, stuff like that. Like, that's all in one thing. I mean, how many rule books are you going to buy? One. How many sets of tokens do you need? One.
Yep.
So if everything's changed for the new edition, you buy the book, you buy the tokens, you get all that and you have it. Right? In the case of Dropzone, where there's a universal deck, okay, so there's an option to buy the book, buy the tokens, buy the deck. Have the deck also available separately so that you can have that deck with your faction deck for each army you have. Sure. But I think a core component to the game of tokens, I think manufacturers need to make them more easily accessible for the players.
and as much as I understand why some companies just choose to go, look, other people are going to make it anyway, we'll just leave it at that.
They're already paying for them to be made and put into starter boxes.
Yeah, that
Double the print quantity so that your price goes down, and then throw up just the extras on your website.
and if you bundle it together with the cards, well, if you bundle it together, what's required for an update for an old player. So in this case, we're talking Zone. So yes, it's the rule book and the cards. Then all of that is bundled together and wrapped, which solves the potential environmental problem that I mentioned originally. And also, because they're together, will probably help protect them in packaging too.
Yep.
Because let's be fair, the tokens get damaged enough inside of a box, let alone being shipped separately. I think you're just leaving money on the table if you don't do it, right?
Well, so I'm looking on the TTCombat site right now, right? So we can buy the rule book, we can buy the decks, we can buy a box of the cityscape, the cardboard
Yeah,
the
that's
only
why I
token
mentioned that originally. That was my
that
original
comes
idea
with,
for the
like,
bundle.
you could buy that separately. Why can't we buy the tokens?
Yeah.
Which is my
Like-
original point to this conversation on our chat. I was just like, when I saw that, I was
Well,
just
yeah.
Like, realistically,
buy
I
these-
think I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, then I apologize, Louis. But personally, I think the reason why this hasn't been done is probably just because nobody's brought it up. Like, you've got tokens in the starter set because the starter set must come with tokens, and nobody has actually sat there at the table at any point and gone, what if we sell the tokens separately? I mean, it's probably not going to be a big money maker, which is why nobody's really brought of it, because it's probably more money than it's worth. But every time a new starter set comes out by any company, this is something of a discussion that people have. There's always something in that box that everybody needs, and now people have to buy a box that they don't want to get them. Now, I wouldn't say it's quite that bad with the tokens, because yes, you can download them for free. But still, it's such an easy win. To the point where, like, again, I'm not saying that selling these things for £2 or £3 a piece is good value. There's a very strong argument that my suggestion is a rip-off. But it's a rip-off that most people will accept because A, it supports the company, and B, it means that they don't have to buy an army that they're not going to use. Again, that starter set is insanely good value. This is not that starter set is bad conversation. This is just the tokens should be available. People need the tokens. And if people don't play with UCM and Biophyces, why not give them the option? Why not give them the option for it to come in those bundles? People will overpay for it. I still think the idea of selling it with the rulebook and the cards is a better idea, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Have you... This is something I've maybe missed, and it looks like it's a second edition, but it looks like TTCombat used to do that.
I don't think they have them out yet with third edition coming out.
Well, but I'm saying it looks like they did it with second edition.
They did.
They did. So, yeah, because I just found a blister pack. It's on Noble Knight Games for $16. It's a set of dice and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of tokens.
Oh.
And they are acrylic tokens. Like, they're not cardboard. They're a premium token. So
yeah, that's the ones that George or Bruce was talking about, how they used to do the acrylic tokens.
Oh, did you? I thought you were talking... well, I heard acrylic. I immediately thought of Alan and his outfit, because he does a lot of excellent acrylic stuff as well.
Yeah, there's a token pack that used to be sold for Drop Fleet that was like a very light blue acrylic. That I actually I bought a set of it like during the first edition of it. And it was lovely, but I will say the set that I got had been miscut. One of the designs had been cut out of it instead of being engraved into the plastic, they'd cut out something. I didn't make a fuss of it because it was fine. It didn't really worry me. I could still tell what the token was supposed to be. But they haven't been available for years now. And I don't understand why. Like, they have the lasers. It's like, I'm not going to say it's a 5-minute job to create them. Like, that's obviously not true. But it's a lot easier to design tokens than it is to design an MDF kit. Hell, you could do chroma once. And in fact, why are we talking about acrylic? Sell premium chroma tokens. It's right there. You literally could take the token sheet design. All you have to do is have it printed on MDF and cut. And you could sell that. Like, you could, honestly, you could probably sell it for 10 to 15, regardless of the fact that it's not worth 10 to 15.
Well, and the fact too is, if they do something like that, like, I don't think they do, like, I know there's the what's the one company that does all of the plastics? War Games Atlantic.
Yeah,
is that the one I'm thinking?
Yeah,
like, you know, they work closely with War Games Atlantic for plastic sprues. Cool. They have in-house MDF stuff, and they have the in-house MDF chroma stuff. Like that's in-house stuff they do. Like that's, you know, that's what that is. But I don't think like the cardboard printing and stuff like that, like, you know, that's definitely got to be farmed out. Like there's, you know, that's one of those things where, you know, companies that do it, they have the machinery and everything to just do it in mass and bulk. If they were to go through and do, you know, the MDF, like that's roughly the same thickness of it that you want for a token.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like why? Yeah, that's actually a really good idea of like, why don't they just do chroma and just do MDF tokens?
Yeah, and
And
look,
then they could,
if it's their if it's their determination that, look, we haven't done it because we just don't think it's worth the warehouse time, and like, if they don't think that it's worth it, then hey, yeah, maybe somebody else will pick it up. But and it's like, we're in like what, this release happened what, 5 days ago, 3 days ago, like it's very early days. I haven't heard anybody else having this conversation. Like I said, I suspect that this hasn't happened because nobody's thought about it, like, or even considered it, because they're on the website already. Yeah, they're in the starter set because they have to be. People probably have their own tokens already, because some people will from older starter sets.
yeah.
So they probably haven't thought about it because they haven't thought about it. And in saying that, yeah, other people may be making it, so maybe that solves the problem. I did just find the token set that you were referring to. Yeah, it's from 2019, so that's that's second edition.
Stuff. But if you notice it, they're colored pegs to separate your groups, and not the true tokens that you would need for the game.
You're right.
That's
No, you're right. So it's not really a token set at all. I mean, it is, but it's not.
It is, but it's not. They're not what you really need.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, I definitely think that it's like, as much as, yes, it turned into a bit of a rant, but I definitely, when it comes to I think starter armies, the way that TTCombat have done it should be done more. Wayland Game also do this. Like we've mentioned TTCombat. Like, I think, like, there's been arguments as to whether you should buy them, because there's new sets coming. This is all old stuff. Should you really buy it? I do think you should buy it if you want this stuff, because we've been told that those plastic sets are probably quite a ways away. Also, there is no more exciting time to get into a new game than as the new edition launches. If you're excited for it, why wait 2 or 3 years when that hype is gone? You're more likely to get games of it now than you are in 3 years' time. Not that I'm saying that the game won't be alive in 3 years' time. I'm just acknowledging hype as a thing.
Yep.
We mentioned that Wayland Games do this as well. Like, it's something that they do really, really well. They started doing that with Wild West Exodus. You had the option of buying just the starter crew, or the starter crew with the token set. You can also buy the token set separately. Like we said this already, everybody should be able to sell get started playing the game set separately with the rulebook and everything that you need. It should be a universal product that's available. I don't understand why it's not. I understand a small one-person product can't do everything. That I understand. For a small to medium company or larger, I don't think there's much of a reason not to do it. You're already paying for a warehouse. It's not like you're doing this out of your backyard. But yeah, like the starter sets, like there's pretty much a starter set for every force in Dystopian Wars that comes with the tokens. I think Wayland Games are the ones that's doing this the best from that perspective. In saying that, I think the bundles that's currently on the TTCombat website are a better value right now. which isn't to say that the Wayland stuff is bad. I'm just saying that I think the TTCombat starter armies are better value at this stage. They're also older kits, though, so I don't think that's a very fair comparison. The only other thing would be is that, like, we haven't really touched on skirmish stuff, but I know that George brought up the Malifaux stuff, but I kind of skipped it mostly. I could have talked about Infinity and stuff as well, but they also don't come with tokens in most cases. This is something that's like, this isn't us having a go at it. Like, we think that this should be something that the industry changes.
Yes, I agree.
And if you have a mass battle game, I think this should... Actually, sorry, I take it back. There is somebody else that's on the level of Wayland Games. The Conquest starter armies are just as good as theirs are. And they literally come with everything. They come with everything as well. Or maybe I should double check that, but I'm pretty sure they all come with tokens as well. I'm pretty sure mine did when I bought it. But yeah, so that's our discussion. Do you think we're overthinking this? Do you think that there's an easier solution that we didn't think of? Let us know. Hey, Socks, why don't you talk about Wayland Games? Not Wayland Games. Valhalla
Hobby?
Yeah.
That one?
Yep.
They are a great store because guess what I have on my order sheet for them? 2 card decks, 2 core decks, PHR, and Shaltari. So the 4 decks that I need for Drop Zone. But yeah, so they are a small little store up in Verona, Wisconsin. However, they carry a lot of stuff in their store. Not just your mainstream industry stuff. They have your niche stuff, which is where I order most of my Dystopian Wars and Armored Clash stuff from. Because that's where I can get it here in the States. And if you use the code TABLED, you can get 5% off on your first order of over $100. We don't get any kickback from this. It just shows them where they're getting their support from. So thanks Valhalla Hobby for still sponsoring us.
Yep, we definitely appreciate it. George, where can people find us?
They can find us on planet Earth in the Milky Way galaxy, third rock from the sun. If you want to be a little more specific, they can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/gettingtabled. I believe is what that URL is. I don't have it pulled up yet. Yes, that's where we do a majority of the posting and whatnot. Our Patreons and tablers are finding us on patreon.com/gettingtabled for $2 a month. You help us pay the bills, keep the lights on, you get early access. And you can hang out with us live, and we will acknowledge your presence. We may make fun of you and whatnot, but we'll do it. Let's see. The website, gettingtabled.com, that's where we do post links, show notes of what we talk about, and links to what we talk about. If you have anything for us that you want us to talk about, or think we should know about, or want us to know about, gettingtabled@gmail.com. There's going to be a link to the Discord in the show notes. So again, revert back to gettingtabled.com for that link for the Discord. You can just come and join us without being a Patreon. We do have a non-Patreon chat that you can jump into. Then there's X, Instagram, Blusky, Threads. Those are all at Getting Tabled. We do have a subreddit of r/GetTabled. And then since Bruce does more interesting things on his own time than hang out with us two dorks, there is a twitch.tv/JasonTheBruce where he plays games sometimes. He is also a member of the Toy Reel team at youtube.com/ToyReel. And then the aforementioned game, Entropy City, that he is working on developing is at entropycity.com.
Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Anything else from you, Socks?
Oh, I'm good.
Oil your chair.
It's not mine.
It's mine.
Buy a new chair.
I need to. It's been through 2 moves now. Yeah, I need to. It's time to buy a new chair.
Do the thing, George.
Do the thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for listening to Getting Tabled. Music used in this podcast was created by Eric Matyas at soundimage.org.
Never skimp on shipping or handling, especially the handling.